So hi folks, how are we getting on? It's Gavin from TAYAR Podcasts. I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to mention any comments about the band. I'll wait for Neil so that we can do the podcast and it's organic as usual. I just want to talk about last night though, what happened. As far as we're aware, there was a power cut in the middle of the street. So the whole of SWG3 was out of electricity. There was nothing at all. It happened during, I think it was about, there was 3 or 4 songs into the Unpeople set, and then all of a sudden it was about midway through the song and the power just went out. So it kind of it gradually died down on stage, and then the whole place was kind of in a pitch darkness except from the emergency lighting. Which there was kind of 1 or 2 bits about it. So, you know, they're all standing on stage. Then the crowd, obviously, they started cheering because there was an accident or whatever. I turned around to look at the sound desk, and the sound desk, they stayed still. So I presumed that it was an on-stage fault. The guys were running frantically around, you know, like the engineers, they were running frantically around the stage trying to sort this thing out. Wasn't working. Luke, the guitarist, he sort of started gesturing to the band that we should leave off the stage. But the drummer was playing away. He was playing fills and kind of trying to get the crowd up. It was like that for maybe, I'd say maybe about 2-3 minutes. And then eventually the usher, they were getting them off stage. They were like, no, it's not safe. We need to go. We need to leave. There's been a power cut. We need to leave. And then we heard at the back of the room, because me and Neil were standing roughly in the middle of it. Well, kind of between the sound desk and the stage. We were standing in the middle of the room. The room was larger than that. And then I gestured to Neil. I said, look, I want to go back up to the merch stand. Maybe this is the perfect time to do it, but I had a little bit in the back of my head. It was like, I know that if I'm going to go up there, it's going to go back on and I'm going to be annoyed that I'm missing it. Anyway, no, it never went back on. Got to the merch stand. The security, they were ushering everybody out. They said, no, we need everybody to leave. We need everybody to leave the venue. Now, I think there must have been at least, I'd say probably about 1,500 people there. I think maybe I'd say definitely about 1,500 to 1,800 people, or 15 to 2. I'd say there was at least 15 to 2 people there. But on the opposite side of the venue, because it kind of just goes into a horseshoe shape. So we were on, if you walk down that road, if anybody knows, watching this video, if anybody knows where SWG3 is, and you walk down that road, you kind of come into like a U-shaped bend, right? So, or well, right angled bend, whatever. But we were on, the venue we were in was on the right-hand side, and the rave that they were all at was on the left-hand side. Now, there must have been about the same amount of people. The capacity for the venue that we were in was 4,000. So I can imagine that the capacity for the rave that was going on was roughly about the same. And both doors were open. You know, there was about 3 to 5 stewards spaced evenly up the street, ushering people to move away from the venue. There was folk standing about, folk waiting for their mates, folk smoking, you know, cigarettes. People, they were saying that you can't leave if you've got alcohol on you. Well, I mean, there was a lot of people with pints, you know, because that's what you do at things. You're there to enjoy yourself. It was just, it wasn't so much carnage, I wouldn't say that, but it was just a crazy experience. You know, you don't think that this is going to happen, but it did. And the amount of gigs, I was saying that to Neil last night, the amount of gigs that I've been in my lifetime. Now, I'm only 36-year-old, and I've been going to concerts since, I was maybe about 9. I think the first one that I went to that I remember was Status Quo, and that was at the SECC. So, I've been going to concerts, yes, since I was young. and not once have I ever seen a technical issue. The only time that I've ever experienced a technical issue was with Michael Kiwanuka, and I was at the hometown Perth, and it was in the Perth concert hall, and I think his amp malfunctioned. I think the tube had gone in his amp or something like that. So, that was a technical glitch. That's fine. Not for the entire venue or for the entire, vicinity. Because it was the vicinity that went out of power. So that was a first. That was a first for me. So I just wanted to do this video. As I say, I'm not talking about the performances. I'm not doing anything that we would cover in the podcast. I'm not talking about the venue. All I'm trying to do is give you an understanding to what I experienced last night. We met boys from Aberdeen before the gig. We were speaking to them, and we seen them during it as well. We were getting ushered out. We met them out in the street. We had a wee bit of chat with them. There was 2 girls that ended up being 3 girls who were standing in front of us waiting to go in the queue. We bumped into them as well, and we were chatting away to them. There was another couple that I mentioned. It was a man in a blue jacket and a woman with blonde hair and like a burgundy plum zipper. And I was chatting away to her as well. Everyone was fine. There was no problems. There was no calamity. No aggression or fighting or anything like that. It was perfectly fine. But we kind of waited about because about 10 minutes of us being out in the street, maybe not even that. 10 minutes. The power did come back on in the street, and because around that area as well there's a load of what are they called, like storage units and kind of shops under the archways or whatever. There's buildings under the archways, so there's container units under there. Some of the alarms were going off on them, but we lingered about for I'd say a good 15 minutes. We walked away, and then we walked back, and as we were walking back, there was folk coming out saying, "Nope, we're not getting access, the gig's been cancelled, we're not getting back in." So I feel sad. Like I feel sad for VUKOVI. I feel sad for VUKOVI because obviously they couldn't play to their crowd. But anyway, I just wanted to do this video just to let you know that appears to be what happened last night. There was a power cut halfway through Unpeople's set, and we all had to evacuate, and the gig was cancelled. Alright? So we're going to still do the podcast on it. I'm waiting on Neil. Neil's actually away to go on his night shift for this week at work. So I think it'll be probably next weekend that we'll record it. But I also want to mention out that to anybody who's in Perth on Friday night, if you're listening, TAYAR Podcasts are going to The Crom. They seem to be an up-and-coming indie band from Perth. So The Crom, they're going to be playing at, I can't remember what the name of the pub is. Used to be the old Scaramouche. So if you're familiar with Perth, the pub across from Tesco's on South Street, that's where they're going to be playing. They're going to be playing there on Friday night. I'm not quite sure what time, but I'm assuming it'll be about 7 o'clock to 7:30. Could be even later than that, but that's where they're playing. I'll be representing TAYAR Podcasts down there. If you're there, we'll see you. And yeah, it'd be great to support my live music. Thanks for watching. Take care. Cheers.